Had a really, really great chat so far. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're brand new to this channel, please smash that subscribe button. It really, really helps us grow this awesome channel. My boy Cubs is here. We're up for an awesome little chat with Rogue Actions. It's been a really, really cool thing that we've been really, really slack and lazy. We got a heap of information dumped. Yes. Instead of going in not quite knowing what to talk about, we got heaps to talk about. So it's been crazy, Cubs.
I'm glad
we
waited because Rogue Actions...
How do you feel about them? How do you feel them just dropping everything at once? How do you feel about that?
I love it.
I love
it's
it. Cool.
With all the focus on Starkiller, the last thing I was expecting was a GAC rework, and so it's just really a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
I like we said in my video, I predominantly love the changes. I think there's a few reasons to be skeptical, but for the most part, I love what they're doing. I'm really excited about it.
Fantastic. And most important, guys, of course, I want to thank everyone that supported me with my Movember quest as well. This will be the last video. The moustache will be visible. I'll be shaving this bad boy off tomorrow when it hits December. So thank you so much for all your support, guys. We raised some fantastic funds for men's health and, of course, for suicide prevention in men. So thank you so much for all your support, guys. We really, really appreciate it. It's for a fantastic cause. Let's get down to it. Of course, let's get down to, we need to talk crystals, man. There's nothing else to talk about right now. Crystals is really, really full on. Of course, we've lost them from Arena, or we'll be losing them from Arena. I'm sorry. Good news is still in fleets. No changes to fleets. So you're still going to be able to get your crystal income from the fleets. And I think that's certainly a really, really smart move. Cubs, I think we both agree, and we talked about this in your video, that the move from the crystals from the Arena shard to GAC is certainly a real positive. Yeah, straight up, it's been absolutely, it's a great call.
Yeah, and we'll have to wait and see. I mean, with this one, we're gonna see what it looks like exactly in practice. The post is a little bit difficult to follow. I don't think it's the best worded post they've ever put out. I was going a little bit cross-eyed a little bit. But it seems like for the most part, you know, if you're active in Grand Arena, you're going to see at least as many crystals, maybe more, than you're used to seeing on a daily basis. Which I think is great, but more importantly than not, just kind of the principle of it. I don't understand why we would want to keep crystals in a game mode like Squad Arena, other than it's just the way it's been. It's just precedent, you know. So I get that any kind of big change like that is going to be scary, and I respect that hesitancy a lot of people are going to have. But ultimately, the best revenue source in this game should be coming from the most competitive game mode in this game, and Squad Arena just isn't that. And this game has moved so far away from single squad focus. Like, it's all about having a full roster, team, squad synergy for several different squads, strategy. And so that's a big component we didn't talk about in my video, but the strategy involved in getting to first place in Squad Arena is basically just getting your shard chat and have the team. You know, but the strategy for Grand Arena, I mean, you can literally have a weaker roster than somebody and out strategy them and win. And so it's such a better competitive game mode on so many fronts. Love it or hate it, it just is. And so having the crystals be focused in that game mode makes every ounce of sense in the world.
Yeah, we all agree, Cubs. I mean, the thing is that, as you said, with Arena, you just have to team up with some people in the top end or prove yourself at that level in a lot of cases to get into the chat and get the rotation up and running. This time, it comes back to how good you are as a player. I love that. I think that really is absolutely fantastic. And the way that it should be. You should be rewarded for doing the hard work. You should be rewarded for playing the game better than other people. That's what it's all about to me. And I see that as an absolute positive, yeah?
Agreed. Yeah, exactly how I feel.
Now, it's a sudden change. It's a sudden shift, Cubs. It really is. It's a huge change. 500 crystals moving straight to GAC, you know, with their new crystal changes. Would you have liked there been a little bit of a weaning type period? So, like, maybe over a month or so, maybe drop it from 400 to 300, 300 to 200, 2 to 1, something like that, just to help, say, especially some of the, and we'll talk about this in a minute, some of the free-to-play players, for instance, sort of get some sort of income up and running behind them just to help it, make it a little bit easier, or even some sort of a gift of crystals just to, you know, help some of the players that, you know, can help settle into this new system. Would that have helped in any way, shape or form, or it's just like, nah, flat, don't care, whatever? What would be your decision?
I don't care that they're not doing that personally. I mean, could they have done that? Sure. Sounds pretty complicated. I mean, it might have just been easier. Like, I like the idea of a crystal reward. Why not? I don't know if necessarily free-to-play players are in a, more disadvantaged situation here or not, I mean, there's plenty of whales who aren't going to want to focus on Grand Arena just as much, and maybe who had the team at the top of their shard chat, and now they're like, crap, now I've got to actually focus on Grand Arena to get my crystals. And so I think it kind of affects everyone the same, I think. Maybe I'm a little ignorant in that take, but I it could be lopsided a little bit, but I feel like it's not even a free-to-play, pay-to-play thing. It's just people are just going to have to get used to the new system regardless of where they're at in the game.
The issue that I see, and we'll move to the next topic because it kind of just walks straight into the next topic.
Yeah,
Cubs, it really does. And the free-to-play effect. Look, okay, I'm going to come out and say I know this seems really, really strange. Me playing the game the way I do, talking free-to-play style. Okay, I get that. 100%, right? But I speak to a lot of free-to-play players. I have a lot of our supporters, of course, our patrons. We're in our Discord chats. Yeah. There's a lot of free-to-play people in there. We get their thoughts. And the next couple of streams I have as well, I'm going to have some free-to-play players on, so we get to talk one-on-one with it, which is going to be really, really cool. The glaring thing that I see is more the free-to-play players in the mid to higher tiers that have been playing the game for many years, gone along free to play and had that income consistently that they could plan their strategy around as far as farming. I see the biggest issue is for those ones that are in guilds that have minimum 600 tickets per day. That, to me, I see as certainly being a large issue, to be honest, where they have the mandatory 600 tickets. We know, Cubs, that you need to have those crystal refreshes in some cases. It can be done free to play, I know that, but it's pretty tough sometimes, depending on how things play out. I see that probably a bigger issue, but I think that when the figures are thrown out there, and from what a lot of people are telling me, if you're playing in the mid-range, you won't get as many crystals. At the top end, doesn't matter as much because they play the game differently. But in the mid-tier, whole different story, Cubs, from what I'm hearing out there. But any thoughts on that?
I'd have to look at exactly how that breaks down. I did go when I was actually reading through the breakdown of how the crystal revenue was going to come in. My eyes went a little bit cross-eyed. I'm not sure I fully grasp that yet. And so if that is the case, though, if it means that people are going to see less, then yeah, I think that's definitely cause for concern. It seemed like their goal with this is to keep things pretty even or better for crystal income. And so if that's the case, then I feel like it's a wash. But yeah, if there is going to be a specific group of people like mid-range players where they're getting less, then yeah, I think that is a concern.
Yeah.
That's
I think, again, the other problem is that when GAC is not on and you're not getting that crystal income, you know how we have that week break, 10-day break, and, that what happens in that time frame? I assume we get more crystals that they need to use. They need to basically allocate crystals over that 10-day period while they wait for the next GAC to kick in. If there's a delay, that causes more problems as well.
That. They addressed that in the post. They said with the daily reward, and I've got it pulled up here on the screen, with crystals moving to this mode, it's important that we keep the daily reward cadence and not require players to wait a week.
I didn't see that. I'm sorry. I didn't see that post. My mistake, guys.
Yeah.
My bad.
So the new daily rewards for Grand Arena will be based on your current league and division.
Okay, so you're still going to get them in between those 10-day breaks. I apologize, guys. I didn't see that. I just got home from work.
How dare you not see this one sentence in a 3 million worded post?
I didn't see that bit. I am so sorry. But, yeah, look, I think free-to-play overall, hopefully, I want to get their opinions. But, I mean, we don't want anyone disadvantaged from this. I mean, I love how, the newer players are certainly going to get a boost in progression. I think that's a really positive. We need to bring those younger players through. I just hope that the mid-tier players aren't too affected by it, honestly. End-game players are going to be okay in the majority. I mean, they play the game differently in the majority of cases anyway. So, yeah, I really hope that certainly no one's affected by this, but there's going to be plenty of people coming up and doing all the numbers and working out the figures to see exactly where it all plays out. But free-to-play, guys, looks like you're going to have to hoard. Make sure you save your stuff just in case you don't get caught out. That would be my opinion anyway, yeah?
We're going to see a lot of takes on this once it implements, and then people really get their hands on what's going to happen. But I think beginning players especially, free-to-play new players, are people who are going to make out very happy with this because they're moving those crystals for beginning game into the daily rewards and away from Squad Arena. And if you're a free-to-play player, good luck getting to the top of your Squad Arena within the first 2 years of playing, because you basically, until you have a Galactic Legend, you're not going to compete for the most part, unless you find a way to really, make things work. And even then, is it going to happen for you? Or are you going to be in and then on top of that, are you going to be in the shard chat? Right. And so moving it away from that gives free-to-play players much earlier a chance to get solid crystal revenue, which I think is very, very solid. In some ways, undermines the Hyperdrive bundle.
Oh no, the Hyperdrive bundle, especially with the reduced Hyperdrive bundle, I think that's still by far the best value in this game. Always has been.
No,
if you're
but
looking at spending anything on this game, you get that
exclusively so they can get to the top. They can ratchet to the top of their Squad Arena shard.
Yeah,
and so if that's 100%. The reason you bought that, you might be salty about this. I don't know. I think it's good though. I think it's a very good thing.
Yep, I think it's definitely a positive. I really do. And we want to bring new players through. That's what it's about. They're going to keep this game going for a long, long time. We need to keep bringing new players in, because otherwise we'll have no game to play at some point, because we need to have the progression, certainly, of new players coming through to pick up for those that do, unfortunately, and it's a fact. People get burnt out sometimes in this game, and they walk away, and we don't want that. And, we hope you'll come back at some point, but it happens.
How much easier is it going to be an old player and come back now, too?
Yeah,
Because,
that's
how
right.
many people quit the game, they're gone for a year, they want to come back, but their shard is so far beyond them now that it's like, oh my gosh, I can't even, get back into this. Now you're not going to have to worry about that. You just pick up where you left off.
Well, Dylar timed it pretty well. Of course, Dylar hung up the boots this week, and his favourite character, Tart Talent, came out. So that was a pretty smart move. So we'll see how that plays out in time.
Just look at
her. Looks fantastic, mate. Absolutely, I'm thrilled. I think she looks fantastic. Did you ever think we were going to get Tart Talent in the game? I would never have said we are going to get Tart Talent.
Hell no. Last thing I thought to see. Yeah, no way.
Yeah. It's just really, really cool. I'm absolutely thrilled. I can't wait. So, guys, let us know in the comments below what you think. Are you a free-to-play player? Is it going to affect you? Is it not? Do you like the new system? Do you not? What question do you want to ask about the new setup so that we can address it in the next week's Rogue Actions as well? So fill us in and let us know what you guys think going forward about the new setup. We really, really want to hear your opinions. The more, the better, because certainly, we need to know. It's super important. It's a huge, huge fundamental change to the way we play this game. And we want to certainly look at all the options and everyone's opinions and make the right judgment calls on whether it's a good thing or not. Cubs, we're down the viewer's choice question.
Let's go.
Of course, we have a viewer's choice question. Cubs does not see this every week. I'm going to hit him with one nice and blind today. This is going to be a lot of fun. So, guys, of course, if you haven't done this before, every week I ask a question from our Discord server. The description's below. Jump in there. There's a channel called Rogue Actions Questions. Put your question in there. If it's a good one, we'll ask it. Simple as that. So pop it in there. Thank you so much for all your questions, and everyone's contributed so far. We have today's question from Canadian Johnny B. Johnny B is the boy today who's thrown our question straight out at us. And the question is this, Cubs. Which teams now are going to be a lot more tuned up due to the new changes to GAC rewards? This is a really cool question because GAC, of course, has gone up a notch in importance in the game. So what teams do you think that are out there that certainly are going to get some adjustments, some tweaks? Some that are a bit low relic, they're now going to go high end relic. Like what type of teams do you think overall are going to get a lot more attention than they have recently?
So is the question what teams are CG going to be reworking, or are we
what teams are we going to be working on as players? I'm sorry, I should have been more clear.
Yeah. I don't know if I anticipate huge changes personally, because I feel like the focus has already been there, even without the reward motivation. I mean, you might see, I think what we're going to see instead that I think will be more interesting is how many more people are now going to be getting into Grand Arena that have just kind of been sitting on the sidelines and joining and collecting their rewards, because the rewards are now worth it. It's not just going to be, playing the game for the fun of it. Now you've got very viable reward incentive to play the game. But for those who are playing, the incentive is already there. The teams that work are already there. I don't think that this is going to inherently bring out any new teams that we aren't already focusing on.
Yeah. I mean, I can see people certainly working on teams that plug and play for a lot of different counters. They're probably going to be shored up that little bit more if they're not already. I mean, we've got, of course, teams like, CLS that, you might put some extra relics on Han and Chewie or something like that now just to make them a little bit more solid.
Yeah.
Darth Revan on defense I've seen a lot lately as well. I think there's going to be a bit of a boost in Darth Revan too. I know there's counters for him, but still, it can go sideways sometimes. So I think that people might shore up a lot of these teams that have a lot more chance of getting a hold. I think that certainly makes a lot more sense.
I think you'll see more Omicrons in Grand Arena now, though. I think that will.
Yeah, I know.
More people will prioritize the Omicrons.
Yep, that's going to be huge. It really is. I mean, the Omicrons are going to be massive. So those teams there, of course, are going to get a huge boost. I really do. Do you think teams like, Dash Rendar, obviously, that's certainly something else that's really interesting as well. Is that something that you can see a huge attention on in this point in time? I mean, he's still very new to the game, but do you see him certainly getting a huge boost?
So here's where I'm at with that. The people who are going to focus on that prepared team are probably the top-end whales who either have the team already or who already have all the GLs and can now focus on that team. So, yes, for people like that, maybe you'll see that. But for people kind of down in my area where you've spent a little bit, you kind of go through cycles. Like sometimes you're spending, sometimes you're not. I'm at 7 million GP. I've got 3 GLs working on my 4th. There's no way that team is worth, losing my focus on Starkiller or losing my focus on Lord Vader, right? And so I don't think that we'll see that necessarily until those characters are required for a GL. I don't think this really fundamentally changes much at all. I think maybe it will for the top end, but again, like the people like the Lokis of the world out there, like those guys they're already investing a ton into these GAC teams. So I don't think the reward structure inherently changes what teams are going to get focused on.
Yeah, absolutely. And can I ask just a last question? This is just one off the cuff. This is a Heinzie choice question, right? This one.
All right.
We need to talk. Of course, we talked about all the positives and bits and pieces, and of course, we need to talk the flip side of the coin as well. We do need to talk about the negatives a little bit. Now, I see that if there's a lot of people that have been a little bit on the fence playing this game for a long time now, and they're feeling a little bit burnt out, I feel that the newest changes might push them over the line a bit into certainly hanging up the saber. Now, I hope that's not the case. I still believe that the introduction certainly of relics when they came out was a huge time for the game, where the player base, there was a lot of retirements back then.
Yeah.
I think still that still remains to this day. I don't think anything that's been introduced recently has really been anywhere as large scale as that. Do you see these changes going forward to that type of level going forward as far as retirements in long-term players, or do you think it's just going to be water off a duck's back?
No, yeah, it's people will always leave. Anytime there's a big change like this, we're going to see attrition in the game, and I would anticipate that people would leave over this. I don't think it's going to be as crazy as like when relics were introduced or things like that, but I could be wrong. I feel like there's more positive here than negative, and I think once, especially for maybe people will rage quit right now before they see what's going on, but I have a feeling that for most people, if they just give it a second and let the changes hit and see what it feels like, I think that a lot of people will be like, it's not too bad. It's not quit worthy necessarily. So this is my 2 cents. If you're burnt out on this game so much that you never play GAC, I have a feeling you're probably not doing your squad arena payout either.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, it's just transitioning from one part to the other. And, yeah, hopefully it all works out well for everyone. I think that, time frame-wise, I mean, time management, I think, is probably a little bit better now, certainly, with the loss of the time payouts. That's a good thing. So, hopefully that sort of takes a little bit of burden off things too. So, guys, like anything, as they say, suck it and see how it works.
Yeah,
get a feel for it. All going well. It should be a positive, and hopefully the game just keeps growing and get better and better and better and better, which really, that's what we want from this game that we love and adore. So hopefully it all works out well. But we'll have to wait and see, won't we? In a couple of weeks from now, Cubs. Thank you so much for joining us, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. Of course, we'll probably be back on Monday, the proper scheduled time next week. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a rough couple of days for both of us. We just couldn't get the timing right. It just couldn't happen until now. But in hindsight, as some people say, it's been a really damn good thing. So thank you so much for joining us. Please hit that subscribe button. Cubs, absolute pleasure, mate. We'll see you again next week. Have a great week. I'm sure you'll be streaming all over the place in between. Love you, brother.
You know it. Love you guys. See ya.
Bye. Mwah.